welcome to another Sports Static Show brought to you by Lipa Live. This is going to be another show where we're narrowing it down. And when I say narrow it down, that means we're at week 3 of the preseason. And you know what that means. There's cuts coming. There's a little bit more opportunity to see plays going on and the players that are going to make it and maybe have an impact on something, and maybe not. You may be a little disappointed at what you see. Joe, what is going on this morning here in Tampa Bay?
And we have some shocking news this morning. Myself and everyone else in the football world is shocked. Andrew Luck has retired, and that just put the Indianapolis Colts Super Bowl chances down the drain.
And you know what? It was a shock to me where I got a text this morning because I just had a crazy day, so I wasn't following anything with news or anything like that yesterday. So I wake up to a text this morning that Andrew Luck retired. And you know what I think about Andrew Luck, Joe, because I told you last week he's my guy this year.
Great quarterback. I thought Andrew Luck was going to be amazing this year. Comeback player of the year. Now they have Jacoby Brissett. It's going to be tough.
I mean, it's going to be tough, but he's not a bad backup quarterback, so the situation isn't bad. And I know a couple years back when Andrew Luck went down that it looked real bad and real ugly, but you didn't have that same offensive line either, and that makes a huge difference, in my opinion, if you've got that protection. And you know what we say, and Joe, you know I do this all the time. You know what I do.
Right.
I count.
Quarterback, he has 3 seconds to throw that ball out of the pocket. If not, he's going to get sacked.
And you can count it out. Watch the replays. If you can't get rid of that ball in 3 seconds, I know what you say. He may not be open in 3 seconds. But what do if he's not open in 3 seconds?
You throw the ball away, guys.
You got to get rid of it and live to play another down. And that's what it's all about. Live to play another down. So with these quarterbacks and everything happening, if you've got your quarterback hitting the dirt a lot, hitting the turf a lot, whatever you're playing on, start watching these replays and actually see what this guy's dealing with. Hey, I know you don't have the best offensive line and stuff happens, but if you still have the ball in your hand longer than 3 seconds, the chance of you being sacked, intercepted, punting the ball away, everything like that, goes up significantly. And if you look at the successful quarterbacks and you look at the decisions they're making in that 3 seconds, and a lot of that, Joe, I got to say right now, some of that has to do with the offensive coordinator.
Definitely has to do with the offensive coordinator and the offensive line. You know, look at Kyler Murray, Cliff Kingsbury's system. Get the ball out quick. Under 3 seconds, get the ball out quick. And you see the Bucs, Jameis Winston doesn't get the ball out quick, he gets sacked. So
he starts acting goofy.
Yep.
He starts acting goofy, and this is what he's been criticized for. He's been criticized for the fact of his poor decision-making when it comes on, and everybody always has said to him, you live to play another down. You live to play another series. You don't have to make this crazy play. And I was watching some of these plays of him, and it seems like the same Jameis. And I will tell you right now, Joe, and I don't know what you think about this because I know you're real high on Jameis Winston. Not real high, but you like him as a quarterback. But I'm not so sure that Jameis Winston will be the starter going into week 6.
Wow. I have to disagree with that. I think Bruce Arians is going to implement a great game plan, and I think Jameis is going to minimize the mistakes. You have to realize, guys, the Bucs had the second most pass yards in the NFL last year. That's something to be, proud of. And I think Jameis is going to do pretty well this year, but I still think the Bucs are going to be third in the division.
I hear you on those pass yards. A lot of those were accumulated from Fitzmagic, and yeah, I know a lot of people had Kool-Aid stains around their lips because they were drinking the Kool-Aid. But remember what happened in them first 4 games. But here's the thing. Yes, a lot of pass yards, Joe. How many wins?
That's the thing. Probably only 6 wins. But you guys got to realize, if you look at the Bucs schedule, they should go 3-0. We have the 49ers, the Giants, and we have some other team we should beat. So we should go 3-0, but then we'll probably start getting the losses racked up.
Right. And the reason why I said he would be having a seat is because I don't think Bruce Arians came out of retirement to have a 6-win season. I really don't think that Bruce Arians came out of retirement to have a 6-win season.
Definitely not. Definitely did not. He's a former Super Bowl winning coach. He wants to win. He's there to make the playoffs and win the Super Bowl. And I don't think he's going to do it, but we'll see.
Before we go too far into this show, I want to grab the reins, pull it back a little bit, because I want to go back to the Andrew Luck thing a little bit here. Some of the Indianapolis Colts fans were booing him. And, I just think that's wrong, okay? This guy is out here getting, many times he put his body on the line for you. He's not, everybody knows this about Andrew Luck. He's a smart guy, smart, intelligent guy. He's newly married with a kid. He's got his life and things in order. He's intelligent enough to have a living, very successful living, I'm sure, outside of the NFL. But nobody knows what it feels like to wake up every day and be injured, feeling pain, and learning to live with pain. And fair enough to Andrew Luck is that he told himself, again, when he reached that fork in the road, he told himself that I'm going to choose to leave the game of football that's leaving me feeling this way every morning. How can you blame a guy for actually not wanting to live that way? He's looking forward to the future of his life outside of football, which every player meets anyway. Why do you want to be in pieces by the time you get there? It's, to me, I 100% get it and respect his decision.
I also do. If you guys watched that press conference, he said it was the hardest decision of his life. And it definitely is the hardest decision of your life. He said he doesn't enjoy football anymore just because of all the injuries. It's not worth it for him. He has life outside of football, and I'm happy for him.
Yeah, and that's what it all comes down to. If you don't have your heart into the game and the passion into it, and I see this in every single sport, and a lot of times in every one of these sports that we're watching where somebody gets injured, and I'll flip over to basketball real quick with Cousins and going down with another injury. Can you imagine mentally what it takes, again, to go through rehab and feeling this way? And rehab is something I'll tell you right now, firsthand knowing it, and a lot of you do as well. Rehab is extremely painful. And a lot of times players can become depressed and everything else that goes along with that, because it can be very, very hard and painful, and you just want to be yourself, and you just want to get back to, being the player that you were, and not being in rehab, like constantly in a trainer's room, in a rehab, and icing and pain and all this. So it's a depressing thing to go through, and Andrew Luck made the decision. Now, what do you see with the Colts moving forward now at this point with the shocking news? What do you see with the backup quarterback in the Colts moving forward here?
Look, I was high on the Colts with Andrew Luck. If Andrew Luck was healthy, they had a Super Bowl push. With him out, they do have a really good offensive line, but Jacoby Brissett is just not the same player as Andrew Luck. I do think they still make the playoffs because they have a good run game with Marlon Mack, T.Y. Hilton, but it's going to be an early exit.
Yeah, I mean, but you never know, because the thing about it is if you can get in the system, you play within the system, you may not be that high-level quarterback Andrew Luck was, but if you're playing within the system, as we've seen with success in great teams, where a backup quarterback can come in and be successful, but then they go to another team that doesn't have this system. And I'll go back right away to what I say when we're talking about these players where maybe their offensive line isn't that good. Maybe they're not great at scrambling and everything like that. To me, then it comes back to that offensive coordinator, and it comes to designing plays with what you have, learning to work with what you have. If you know your quarterback's going to get in trouble and can't get that 3 seconds, you have to design these plays to have these nickel and dime dump the ball plays. And if you have that and you get your quarterback that's actually practicing that, every practice, get ready to look for the dump off. If you can practice that way and get rid of that ball on time, you're going to have more success. So let's see if the Colts can implement their second string quarterback with a play system that works for him and be successful. They got a great line, do they not?
They do have a great line, but if you watch Andrew Luck play last year, Andrew Luck learned from Peyton Manning. Omaha, they run audibles a lot. I don't think Jacoby Brissett has the high enough IQ or as high as IQ as...
Now, hang on a second. You talking about the dude's marbles and stuff like that.
Okay, maybe I used the wrong words, but Andrew Luck uses a lot of audibles, and he can read the defense really well. That's what I'm saying.
He's smart.
Can Jacoby Brissett do those audibles, read the defense? I don't think he can.
Oh, okay.
Well as Luck.
All right, so with that being said, then I guess that as we think that way, it really does. The success of them does come down to the coaching now. If you are the coach of that team, you know what your quarterback's bringing. You have to make those small adjustments to make him a successful quarterback.
No doubt. Yeah, it comes down to the coaching staff. The coaching staff is especially important just because a second-string quarterback's in. So they're going to have to teach Jacoby Brissett the audibles and what to look for.
So anyway, with that, Andrew Luck, we appreciate the highlight reels and your enthusiasm when you did play the quarterback position. We appreciate the enthusiasm you brought to the game. This guy would get drilled by a 300-pound lineman, and he'd be like, nice shot, big guy. Nice shot. That was great. Way to bring the heat. And I love that about Andrew Luck is and quarterbacks should pay attention to this, young quarterbacks, is Andrew Luck can have that happen. Get sacked, get rocked. He taps the guy in the shoulder pads. Nice hit, man. That was a great rip you just put on me. Way to bust it. And then he goes over to the sideline, even throwing an interception. He shakes it off, and he forgets about it. He comes back to play another series.
Such a positive attitude, and we should really take what Andrew Luck's attitude throughout our lives, honestly. And he retired, and it couldn't happen to such a good guy. Right. I'm happy for him.
I second that. 29 years old, retires from football. Could potentially be one of the smarter things he does for a pain-free life after football. So one of the things that we're going to add into Sports Static, the show, this year is we are going to add a little fantasy. And I'm not talking about your fantasy now. Come on now. We're talking about fantasy football. This stuff is not real. I'm putting that out there right now. You do get this is not real, right, Joe?
It is not real. Not your fantasy. Our fantasy.
This is true. This is true. That being said, I told you guys last year, and I know Rocco from Detroit was trying to get me in on the fantasy train there, and I wasn't jumping on it, and I am going to this year. But the co-host here, Joe, has some experience and successful experience in fantasy football. Where are we right now with fantasy? I know we got a lot of people that already had their draft picks, so we're going to pretty much, some of you that haven't yet, and I know, Joe, you haven't had your draft picks. Where do we stand?
Not yet. Well, it depends on your draft order. I'll give you guys some advice, some of my little secrets, especially this year. If you're picking top 5, the running backs are going to be gone. Zeke, Kamara, CMC.
So when are they gone, though? Like, what do you have to have? What pick order do you have to have?
1 through 5, they're going to be gone. So, my advice for people is, look, running backs are the most injured position. Get the handcuffs. The handcuffs are really important, and I would stack up on wide receivers also. So, and also another secret. Don't, I know Patrick Mahomes throws a lot of touchdowns. It depends on your league. Definitely depends on PPR. If it's touchdown league, get Patrick Mahomes. If it's just a regular league, I'd get, there's a lot of good quarterbacks out there. So I'd go lower rounds for quarterbacks.
So you're going low round for quarterbacks.
Definitely.
Explain to me again why. Like, because I seen stuff, Joe, that was saying something like, don't take Patrick Mahomes early and everything like that. And me not being a fantasy football player, why would you not take him early?
Guys, the quarterback position's stacked this year. They're going to be throwing, I would say pick up some rookie quarterbacks. I think Kyler Murray's going to put up some good numbers. I think Nick Foles is going to put up some good numbers. Those are some guys that aren't going to be picked until the later rounds. Those are sleeper guys. And I would really not go high on a quarterback because you might waste a pick.
Okay, so You're saying if you go high, they're going to be around, so you should just wait and be patient on them.
Yeah.
What happens to someone if they do take Patrick Mahomes on
Oh,
their first?
Well, they're missing out on a really good wide receiver that produces. But, Patrick Mahomes is kind of, an anomaly. I like Mahomes, Rodgers, and, they're really good fantasy quarterbacks. But look, Aaron Rodgers was the top number one fantasy quarterback 4 out of 11 seasons. Patrick Mahomes was the top fantasy quarterback last year, but I believe that production is going to go down a little bit. So you got to pick quarterbacks in the later rounds, guys.
Okay, so the quarterbacks in the later rounds, I kind of get that now. It's a stack thing and everything like that. So generally speaking, from fantasy, and if you do get that top 5 draft, and if you're fortunate enough to get that, you taking a running back or you taking a receiver?
Well, you have to take the running back. I mean, you have to take Saquon Barkley, Zeke, and guys, I think David Johnson's going to be good this year. Le'Veon, I don't know. I believe he's going to have a down year just because the Jets' offensive line isn't very good. So I don't think he's going to be the best fantasy running back to get.
In past, how was Le'Veon Bell as far as fantasy goes?
Number one. He was great, but he was with the Steelers. You have to remember that. People
right.
are. Yeah.
But the thing I always noticed about him as a running back, Bell, is that he's much more intelligent with the ball in his hand, where he actually knows where the hole's going to be,
Yep.
and he actually has that little bit of patience. He's very deceiving in the speed he's using at times, and he shifts gears fast. He waits for those holes to open up, and I believe that's where his success comes from. And he was saying in practice, he wants these guys to hit him. And, just a year out, we forget how good Bell actually is as running back, and when he decides to put his head down, what he can deliver.
Right, and people also forget he can go out and play wide receiver. He's 6'2", 230 some pounds. He's a big guy. He could run the ball and he could catch the ball. He's a very dimensional player.
He is a dimensional player. So take me a little deeper into fantasy, and I want to know, you gotta have some pointers here, because have you actually won in your league before?
I've won in my league before, yes.
Okay, so he's won in his league. So I want some pointers. If I'm a guy that's playing fantasy and I am new to it, which I am probably going to join one, I need some pointers, man. I'm getting ready to go into the draft here. I have no clue what's going on here. I mean, I know some stats here. I get it right from Sports Static.
Yep.
Talk to me.
Look, guys, if you want to be successful in fantasy, you have to keep up with it. You have to get the news right away and then go to the fantasy and pick up that guy. Say some guy gets injured, you want to pick up the handcuff. You just have to stay with it. That's the main advice that I can give.
Okay, and now I'm a late draft pick, and let's say I'm number 10 here in the first round. Okay,
well, that's
all
where
the
I am.
good running backs are gone.
Yep.
Okay, what am I doing?
Go wide receiver. I'm telling you. 10. Who might be there at 10? You might have Devontae Adams there at 10, maybe there. So I'd go wide receiver at 10.
Okay, and then you go into the second round. Okay.
Yep.
And if you were 10 in the second round, what are you? You're going to be up around the top 5 now. If the first round you were a 10, then I guess what happens is the second round. What do you get a better pick now?
Look, guys, I like stacking up on wide receivers. I don't like stacking up on running backs. A lot of people get 3 running backs, and I guarantee you that one of those running backs, or maybe 2 of those running backs, are going to get injured. I like picking up the handcuffs, and that has helped me win leagues before, picking up the handcuffs. James Conner.
Hold up 1 second here. Picking up the who?
The second string running backs.
And you're calling them a who?
A handcuff.
Huh. Nice. You learn something new every day. I like that.
Right.
Okay, so you're picking up the handcuff.
Yeah, I'm picking up the handcuff just because, statistically that the running backs are injured a lot. The most because they get the ball and they get hit by these big offensive linemen. They get hit all the time. Just, James Conner won literally a lot of people leagues. So, you got to pick up the second string running backs.
And what do you think about Mr. James Conner this year?
I love James Conner. I love an underdog story. You look at his story, went through cancer and everything. I'm really big on James Conner. I like James Conner.
Yeah, and he plays with heart, and that's a big deal. And at running back, when you're given that opportunity, and you're given that opportunity, actually, regardless of what position, when you're given an opportunity to come into the game, you have to take full advantage of the opportunity you're given, because it could turn into not only a starting position, but a whole lot of bank. And ain't that what it's about? Bank?
It's definitely about bank. And look at Ezekiel Elliott. He just turned down a monster contract.
What did he turn down?
Wow, he turned down like $47.5 million, I believe.
Okay,
for
now,
4 years.
And I think what he's looking for is guaranteed. And what's important to him through the negotiation is the guarantee. And I didn't really look at the offer that he was given.
Yeah.
And I think he also wants to be the highest paid player.
He wants to be the highest paid player above Todd Gurley. And, I honestly don't blame him, because, Todd Gurley's injured this year.
Right, but how many times has Todd Gurley been suspended from the game because of his off-the-field actions?
Yeah, never. You're right about that. Right.
And to me, that makes a big difference, because if you're not there for 6 games, hello, can I, take and put a minus sign on your contract that you've been given and get my 6 games of money? All you got to do is simple division. You're making how much money? You're going to divide the amount of games into that much money. We can see how much you're making per game. So can I go ahead and subtract those 6 games you're suspended? Come on, get a haircut, I said.
Out here looking like a Wookiee. But, guys, you guys, look at Melvin Gordon. He's holding out. I'd pick up Austin Eckler. I like Austin Eckler. So you got to pick up the handcuffs.
Pick them up. So if you were to say, again, we're talking right now, people are ready to make their draft picks, okay? Draft picks. Mm-hmm. I want you to tell me right now, if you are the last first round pick, the last first round pick, and let's just go ahead and bring this right directly personal to you. You are the last first round pick. Give us a little bit of an idea of what you're thinking.
If I'm the last first round pick, well, it all depends who's there.
Who's there? Right. The best of the best aren't going to be there.
And the best of the best aren't going to be there, but look, I've been doing mock drafts, and Antonio Brown's slipping. He's slipping to the second round. I might pick him up. If I'm the last pick in the first round, I might pick up Antonio Brown. I know he's drama, but, he's a great wide receiver. Might pick him up. Might pick up Mike Evans. It just depends who's there.
You really think that Antonio Brown's not going early because of the off the field, the frostbite feet, okay?
Yeah.
The helmet issue. But here's what I'll tell you about that. I think that he loves the storyline that goes with it. And I think he's going to knock the socks off. And it's because then it's like, whoa, look at this guy, this, and that. And then look what happens when he gets on the field game time. I think he's playing a little possum here. And I seriously think. Now, don't get me wrong. We saw the feet. And I don't ever want to see him again. That big toe looks that big toe looks a little funky, doesn't it? I mean, I wasn't even looking at the skin off of the feet, to tell you the truth, Joe. That big toe looks funky.
It does. Definitely does look funky. And the helmet issue. But, guys, to be a great wide receiver, you have to have great footwork. And I think Antonio Brown has the best footwork of any receiver I've ever seen.
His feet, man. He laces those green shoes up and them feet. And you know what? Hats off to Antonio Brown, because that's off the field, non-game time work he puts in.
Yep. I enjoy watching Antonio Brown play. He's exciting. He brings swagger. That footwork is great. And I agree with you, John. I think he's going to be great this season.
So that being said, guys, look right here. And I'll tell you this right now. If there is a chance that you're going to be one of those last couple picks in that first round of your fantasy draft, if Antonio's there, in my opinion, you better snag that dude up, because I'm telling you right now, he isn't all of a sudden going to be bad. He isn't all of a sudden not going to be the best receiver on the field during that game. It's matchups. Remember that. And I want you to show me who's going to match up against Antonio Brown. It's matchups. And we know Carr can get him the ball. Mm-hmm. We do know that. So if he's there and you're picking late in that first round of your fantasy draft, you better scrape him up.
Yep. You better scrape him up. And you know who else I'm high on? I'm high on some rookies, guys. Some rookies are good. Josh Jacobs I'm high on. N'Keal Harry I'm high on. There's some rookie Kyler Murray I'm high on. So there's a lot of guys you can go, and I like the rookies this year also.
There's a little bit of a taste of some fantasy stuff, and guys, we're actually going to bring it a little bit more in it, and we're looking for the interaction that happens with that. And a lot of people asked us for that last year. You know, this year, of course, we've introduced the new show, Sports Static, and there's a lot of different things that will be happening as we progress through the season and enhance our production quality. This is a new show, low budget, it's like a B-rated stuff here, but don't let that fool you at all. This show has always been about the fans. It's from the fans, that's you, back to the fans, that's us, is it not? Is it not?
It is.
Throw it back to them. It goes back to them. Throw it to them, Joe.
This is a fan-friendly show. You could say whatever you want. If you believe I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong. But I tell you, if I'm right, and then I see that game, I'm going to tell you that I told you so.
Told ya. And that's what it's all about. This is how we've always talked football, the fans. The fans have talked football from the couch, from the bar, from the booth, whatever it is. And that's why we want you guys to know this is your show, and it is your chance to be a part of it just as much as we are. So that's where we get this fantasy thing that kicks in, because we want to give you that opportunity to engage with us with the fantasy stuff. And, of course, school us if you think you have to. School us. I want to turn now and get into some of what's going on. And because we started with a little bit of the Jameis Winston talk and the Buccaneers, Bruce Arians, of course, coming out of retirement to coach this Buccaneer team. Wow, you picked a rough one to go for. I happen to think that Jameis Winston is like a deer in headlights when he's there under center. I watched a lot of replay on this, wouldn't have him under center as much as I would in the shotgun, because, Joe, I believe you got 3 seconds to get rid of the football. In the NFL, you have 3 seconds to get rid of the football. And if you don't have the football out of your hands in 3 seconds, the chance of something bad happens dramatically increases. And as we see Jameis, where's the ball after 3 seconds? Still in his hand. What does he do? He scatters. He scatters, and he's vulnerable to making a mistake, Joe.
Yep, I completely agree. You know, as a Bucs fan, you know, I really want to like Jameis. I really do. I do think he's a good leader, but the off-field issues, and then, you know, he makes dumb decisions. I really hope Bruce Arians supposedly the quarterback whisperer. He made the Arizona Cardinals, I forgot his name, him really good. But, you know, yeah, you're right. He might be out this year.
I mean, when I look at this, I'm looking at it as a sense of this. I don't believe that Bruce Arians came out of retirement to coach a 6-10 team. And I'm saying that, okay? Because, Joe, what do you foresee with this team this year? I mean, look at that. Let's look one thing, Joe. The division that they're in. Okay, right. The Falcons I expect to be better. Yep. The Saints, we know who they are. I don't know what we're going to get out of the Carolina Panthers, but, you know, especially with Cam Newton and what we'll talk that later. What do you foresee this season for the Buccaneers, Joe?
Look, I mean, they could be the dark horse. We don't know. The Bucs could go second in the division, but you know, I believe the Bucs got really a lot better on defense. If you guys saw the preseason game against the Browns, the secondary looks good, the rush looks good, but you know, being realistic, I think they're going to go third in the division, and that's how it's going to go.
So you really think they'll be third in the division? And with that being said, that they are third in the division, I don't see them better than 6-10, and I just cannot believe Bruce Arians comes out of retirement to coach a team that's going to go 6-10. And I'll put this out there for you too. Those 6 wins that we're talking about, will not come from Jameis Winston.
Wow. That's a bold prediction. I'm gonna have to disagree with that. I do believe Jameis Winston. I think he starts the whole year. I do believe it. We have Byron Leftwich. I think he's a good offensive coordinator. Quarterback coach. But they're gonna be third in the division. The division's too tough, and Jameis might be out this year.
And when you're saying Jameis might be out, what do you think? What do you think it is that takes Jameis Winston out?
Look, the Bucs haven't made the playoffs since what 2007, and this is going into his fourth year. We haven't made the playoffs. All those off the field issues. It's just not worth the pit. And he's coming off a contract. You're gonna have to pay him. No, you're not gonna pay him. I think he's gonna be gone.
So you think he's going to be gone, but what is it you think that's a determining factor on that, Joe?
He makes too many mistakes. 3 seconds, guys. 3 seconds, very important. Look at the footage. He makes too many mistakes. He doesn't pump it up. Tries to play hero ball, and you can't do that in the NFL.
All right. So with that being said, I just want to take a look ahead, and we'll see why I'm saying kind of what I'm saying. Okay, is because San Francisco comes into town. Okay, for the first week of the regular season. San Francisco is in town. It's a 4:25 game on Fox. Then Tampa Bay goes to Carolina. So we'll give them a win in Carolina. I'll give them that. Mm-hmm. Of course. Look, a lot of that comes down to the Carolina defense, Joe.
Yeah.
And when we talk that, what are we looking at here?
When I look at the Carolina defense, I look at Luke Kuechly. I believe they lost Thomas Davis, but the Carolina Panthers, it all comes down to Cam Newton, and if he's not healthy, I don't think the Panthers are that great, especially and McCaffrey. It also comes down to McCaffrey.
So if we look at just the first 6 games, for the Buccaneers, let's take a look and see where we are with the first 6 games. San Francisco comes into town. I believe the Bucs will lose that game. Okay? There they are. 0-1. Tampa Bay goes to Carolina. If Cam Newton is healthy, I believe Carolina wins that game. They're 0-2. Man, that funk's already started. Okay? Joe, I'm instead of going all over this again, week 1, San Francisco.
Look, guys, I think the Bucs go 3-0. That's a bold prediction for me. I think we get at Garoppolo the first game. Cam Newton, look, we swept them last year. They didn't beat us last year. I think we beat them.
Right.
Third game, I think we win too. Who do we play the third game, you said?
The third game's the Giants coming
into Tampa.
Look,
we're going to destroy Daniel Jones. Off the edge.
Daniel Jones is on the bench.
Sorry. Been watching preseason too much. Eli Manning, but he'll be on the bench after probably the 6th week.
So I'm wondering if that was an actual slip, or if you're calling Daniel Jones the starter week 3.
Daniel Jones will start, guys. We had this conversation before. He was the 6th pick in the first round. You see Eli in the preseason game trying to make that block. He's fighting for his job. He knows Daniel Jones.
I love that. And the guy had some wheels, did he not? He rolled out around that end and was going for a block, Joe.
Yeah. I liked it too. I did enjoy that.
To me, that says a lot right there. Just like you said, it's not that he's just fighting for it. I think it's really good for him. And Eli said it. I don't want to get off track with these Buccaneers, but Eli said it before. There's always been a second-string quarterback. Always.
Yeah, you're right. But, when they pick you 6th overall in the draft,
ouch,
they expect you to play.
Boy, Danny Jones got to be feeling good right now. I'm just going to tell you right now, Daniel, I'm going to call you that for the rest of the time, the rest of your career. I'm calling you Danny Jones.
Danny Jones, I like it.
It sounds better, doesn't it? Daniel Jones rolls out. Danny Jones rolls out. I mean, you tell me, is it Danny or is it Daniel? Danny or Daniel?
Danny to T.Y. I like that.
Yeah, Danny. All right, so...
Danny to T.Y.
Who is T.Y.?
T.Y. Hilton.
Oh, okay.
That's funny.
Yeah,
Messed
that's
up
a good
there.
One. All right, so you're calling them 3-0, the Buccaneers, right away.
3-0.
Okay, I'm telling you right now, New York Giants coming to Tampa Bay and win that game with Eli Manning. Our secondary's got to prove itself. Eli Manning is licking his chops, I said. Licking his chops. Then Tampa Bay goes to L.A. They're going to face the Los Angeles. You really think that's looking good for them?
Nope. Not at all.
Okay, so there you go right there. I'm saying this. They lose to San Francisco. They lose to Carolina in Carolina. I'm telling you right now, Tampa Bay starts 0-4.
Wow.
I've got a backup quarterback on the bench. I'm Bruce Arians. I've already watched Jameis Winston have 3 interceptions per game because he's going to try to do something miraculous, and he doesn't have a miraculous arsenal.
Look, I don't believe they go 0-4, but, their secondary got better. The only thing, offensive line is terrible. Offensive line is bad. Donovan Smith doesn't look good, left tackle. We only have a good, Ali Marpet's our only good offensive lineman, center. I think they go 3-0, but they only get 6 wins.
3-0. So I'm at right now that they're at 0-4, and then what happens is they go to New Orleans, they go 0-5,
Wow.
and then they get their second chance at home for the Carolina Panthers. And the Carolina Panthers will be playing that game without Cam Newton. They will come into Tampa Bay and lose so that they first get that first one back. That is already week 6. Week 6, the Buccaneers are 1-5. Going into week 7,
You have the
you got
Giants
the
beating
Tennessee Titans coming into town. I would be willing to bet, if I'm correct, and I'm sorry there about what you cutting you off there with the Giants, but I'd be willing to bet that week 6, when we get our win against Carolina, we will get that win. We'll be 0-5. We'll get our first win with our backup quarterback.
Wow. Wow. That's a bold prediction there.
I'm all about bold predictions,
That's a
Joe.
bold
I am
prediction.
all about bold predictions.
Very bold prediction.
I've got my hourglass in the back room. I looked at it before we went on air, Joe.
Well, we'll see if you're right, but I don't think they go 0-5. I really don't.
Is this something? Is this something that's an emotional thing? Because
No.
you are a Buccaneer fan living in the Tampa Bay area. Did you grow up with the Buccaneers, Joe?
Yes.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying. Is this an emotional prediction?
No, guys, it's not an emotional prediction. We got better in the secondary. I think we're good in the secondary. We got rid of our coaching staff, brought a new coaching staff in, got a former Super Bowl coach. I mean, the facts are there. We should do a lot better this year. So
Okay, I'd love to see it happen. So I'm in Tampa Bay. I've been in Tampa Bay for probably 30 years. Okay, I'd love to see it happen. I had a lot of good times on the Super Bowl run and the years before that, playoffs. But I've had a lot of fun with it, and obviously, it's a lot more fun when you're winning. Would you not agree with that one, Joe?
all that matters is wins and losses. That's all
Losing
people care about.
sucks, and that's all there is to it.
Yep.
Okay, so there we go with the Buccaneers, and what I will tell you with the Buccaneers, and I would say if they get a couple of wins here and there, I'm calling the Buccaneers to go 6-10. And if you're 6-10 and you're Jameis Winston as a quarterback in the NFL and you're 6-10, if I go into the stats and start telling you his turnovers, his fumbles, if I start looking at these stats, you're going to understand why I think the way I do. And then if you go ahead and watch replays and you count 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, look at the good quarterbacks and you tell me where the ball is at 3,000. Okay? Look at the quarterbacks that are getting in trouble, throwing interceptions, turnovers, the ball being stripped from their hands from behind, getting sacked, and you tell me where the ball is when you hit 3,000.
Yep.
That's one of my things. Check it out.
Yeah. Look, and we could be completely wrong also. This team could be a dark horse. This team, could get a wild card. They could get a wild card. We don't know. If Jameis can improve and get the ball out quick, that defense looks good. If JPP comes back, we got good pass rushers. Vita Vea, we have a good D-line. Ndamukong Suh, they could be the dark horse, but, I agree with you, John. I think they do go 6-10 also.
Yeah, and, when you're saying, and so we're on the same page there, 6-10. So these losses, that you're talking about,
Yeah.
10 losses.
Yeah.
I might not be that far off because where are these 10 losses going to come from? I mean, that's 10 losses. That is an upset for Bruce Arians and the Tampa Bay team. Yet everybody's calling it that. Some people have them at 5-11. Ouch. And if you talk wild card, that's telling you right now that because we all think that New Orleans Saints win the division. And Joe, you agree with me on that?
Yes.
Okay. So then we're looking at the Falcons, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Can you think that the Falcons would have a worse record than the Buccaneers?
Probably not.
And I'm not saying that's the only wild card chance, but our division's pretty solid when you look at that wild card spot. A lot of times does come through our division.
Definitely. We have probably if not the first, the second toughest division in the NFL. And, playing those teams twice, it doesn't look good.
Yeah, I agree with you on that wholeheartedly. We touched a little bit on some teams that may be shockers, the sleepers, and everything like that. And we just basically, we called it on those first 6 games. And I kind of want to stick in kind of a format of 6 games here so we can kind of get a little idea of the beginning of that season there. Joe, if we just look in at it with 6 games,
Mm-hmm.
what team do you think is least expected to be successful in those first 6 games?
Ooh, the first 6 games was least to be successful. You know what? I'll tell you a sleeper, guys. The Chargers, the Vikings also.
The Vikings. Did you see Daniel Cook?
Yep. Dalvin Cook.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Who did I call him?
Daniel. Hey, we both messed up today.
Now
It's all
I'm
right.
calling Delvin Daniel when I already switched Daniel to Danny. And Danny Cook would be hot. That'd be hot. Okay, Delvin Cook.
Yeah, Dalvin Cook, that 88-yard touchdown run. He looked good.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. Welcome back.
So the Vikings and their defense, right?
Yeah, I like their Vikings defense. Xavier Rhodes.
Kirk Cousins is the
Yep.
quarterback. Started a little rough yesterday, but then shook it off.
Yep.
But the defense, Joe.
Defense is good. Anthony Barr, one of the best. Got Everson Griffin coming off the edge. They have a Harrison Smith, Pro Bowler. Vikings have a solid team.
And looking at the Vikings of the solid team, they've got a real good chance, in my opinion. And a lot of people think Packers, okay? Bears, that's a tough joke.
Yep.
That's a tough division.
That's one of the toughest divisions in football also. That might be the toughest division in football. The Bears, man. You know what? I'm just not very high on Mitchell Trubisky. The defense is great. I'm just not very high on that offense.
What is it about Trubisky that makes you that way and you feel so uncomfortable thinking this guy's not going to be successful this year? He is going to be the determining factor that stops the Bears from making the playoffs. What is it about him that makes you feel that way?
I just don't think he's experienced enough. And this could be a bold prediction too. He gets hit a lot. I think he might get injured this year.
You think that Trubisky goes down with an injury?
Sad to say. I never want to say that, but
right.
I think he does.
Okay. And we got to call that sometimes because of the conditioning that you see some people in. And we even say it with other quarterbacks that want to hang on to that football and run. And I've said it flat out with Taylor in Baltimore. I don't think he can make a season with that style of play. So I've said it too. I hate to say it.
Yeah, you don't want to say it, but these guys, again, you guys get hit by these guys. These guys are, 200-some pounds, 300 pounds. You got to get injured, and I think that might happen to Mitchell Trubisky.
And I think he's got a better arm than a lot of people give him credit for, and he shows that. But what I don't like to see him do sometimes, it was hilarious that I called him Twinkle Toes last year because he was like jogging and then moving this way and moving this way and getting 40 yards. And Twinkle Toes, I called him last year because it was hilarious, some of those runs he had. He was like weaving, jogging in and out of people and letting their speed and momentum carry him past them. It was hilarious.
Yeah, it was funny to see, but it is a little risky, and that's why I'm saying
it is risky, and I'd like to see him get rid of that football.
Yep, me too.
So the Vikings is one of those teams that I agree with you on, that they could actually have quite the season. And I'll tell you what, just because of that and going into the Vikings, when you look at the Vikings, Minnesota Vikings, and I like to do this a lot, I like going right in right away and checking out their schedule, because a schedule's everything, guys, everything. And I'm on the wrong shit for it. Excuse my French. It's SHIT, ship high in transit. And sometimes I take the abbreviation and I put it together, and there you have it.
Hey, when you're talking football, some of those words come out.
But it's actually ship high in transit. So if you hear me say, or any of our guests, or you hear Joe say it, if you hear him say the SHIT, what we're actually saying is ship high in transit. And what does ship high in transit mean? It means it's dangerous. It's flammable. So you got to keep it away from the engines and stuff and keep it up in the wind. So if I say the abbreviations, that's just telling you that I believe this is a highly flammable situation and we should ship it high in transit. Joe, can you agree with that?
I agree with it.
All right. Going back to the Minnesota Vikings, I want to talk Minnesota Vikings, and I lost the Minnesota Vikings. Joe, once again, I lost the Minnesota Vikings. That's twice in one show. What is it, Joe, you can tell me while I pull this up about Minnesota that you think is going to be the potential to put them as division leaders?
Their wide receivers. You got, and their tight end. You got Stephon Diggs, and you have Adam Thielen on either side, plus Rudolph. I mean, and Dalvin Cook. They have a good offense and a really good defense. They're not really weak anywhere if you look at their depth chart.
So, but what are you looking at as far as Cousins? Cousins has to have a hookup guy,
yeah,
and he has to have that guy that's going to be the hookup guy.
Yeah, and look last year. Look at Thielen. He had a great year. He had a great fantasy year, and he had I like Kirk Cousins. I actually like Kirk Cousins. I think he's a good, solid quarterback. So
Kirk Cousins is a good quarterback, okay? But with Kirk Cousins being a good quarterback, it's going to come down to what we always see in everything is can they keep him off the dirt, Joe? Because if they can keep, I watched yesterday a little bit, Joe. He was hurried. He made some mistakes. He was keeping that ball in his hand. I count them. 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000.
Yeah. I don't know much about the offensive line of the Vikings, but I like Kirk Cousins. If he gets that ball out quick to Thielen and Diggs and Rudolph, I think they're a dangerous team.
First six games for the Vikings. They host Atlanta week 1. Tough game for them. Matty Ice is good at any given week. You give him protection. Let's not forget about Julio Jones, okay? Let's not forget about it. When Atlanta comes into town, the first week of the NFL regular season, there's a test right there.
That's a big test right there. That is a huge test right there. The Falcons. I've been saying it throughout the show. I am high on the Falcons. They were just in the Super Bowl in 2016.
Yes.
They've been injured. They're coming back all healthy. I think the Falcons are making a Super Bowl run.
So right away for Minnesota, tough opening week. You're hosting Atlanta, and then I'm going to tell you right now, let's go divisional. Week 2, you're going into Green Bay. That is a tough first 2 games. Joe, can you imagine week 2? First week 1, you're taking on Atlanta. It's got something to prove. Right?
Yeah, right. And you guys know I love Aaron Rodgers. I love Aaron Rodgers. He's a bad man.
Do you have his jersey?
I do have his jersey.
Whoa. Okay.
Yeah, I like Aaron Rodgers a lot.
So we may see that in the studio.
Oh, you'll see it. You'll see it in the studio. I might bring it out week 1.
Week 1.
I might bring out a Winston jersey week 1.
Whoa. Damn, how many jerseys you got, pal?
I might bring out a classic jersey. Who knows? Joe Montana jersey I might bring out.
Number 16, Joe Montana. I'd like to see that.
A Dan Marino jersey.
Number 13, Dan Marino, the quickest release in football. I'd like to see that jersey.
Maybe I'll bring a jersey every week starting the regular season. Who knows?
Here's the question for you. Do you got a number 4 jersey?
No.
No number 4 jersey. We could look at that a couple different ways, but I'm looking at Brett Favre. You've got an Aaron Rodgers and you don't got a Brett Favre?
I do not have a Brett Favre, but that does not mean I'm a fan. I love Brett Favre too. I love you, Brett.
Nice. Nice. Week 3. Minnesota hosts Oakland. Who wants to play the Raiders this year? Seriously.
I don't know, man. I mean, I think they beat the Raiders. You know, I think they beat the Raiders.
No way. Antonio Brown. Okay? Antonio Brown. Derek Carr hookup. They've got something looking good like a running game. They got the Gruden offense, okay? And their defense is looking pretty damn good. I don't want to go against that rookie number 24 running back there because I'm watching this guy, and he will hit you like he's number 24. Remember Woodson, okay? You turn those numbers around of who he reminds me of in San Francisco, number 42, Ronnie Lott. This guy's a big defensive back. Look out for that rookie.
Yeah, you're really high on Abrams, aren't you? Like that, really high on Abrams.
Abrams, to me, has a chance to be the rookie of the year.
Wow.
I'm calling for this guy to have 6 interceptions. I'll call it right now, his rookie year.
When have we had a rookie on the defensive end of the football that won rookie of the year? I don't even remember.
I know, but that's how big I think on this guy.
Wow.
His enthusiasm for the game. He got in trouble. First week they went pads. He knocking the crap out of everybody. And I almost said ship high in transit, but knocking the crap out of everybody. I'm telling you right now, this guy's a difference maker playing DB. He's going to hit you. He's going to strip the ball when he does hit you. He's going to take the ball from you. We're talking turnover maker here right now.
Wow. Well, I'm excited to see it. And I'm also excited to see Pharrell playing also. I think he's a difference maker. And they got Josh Allen. Guys, this team is actually pretty stacked on defense.
All right, well, look at what's happening right there is that not only does Atlanta come in week 1 for Minnesota, got Green Bay hosting Minnesota week 2. Week 3, you got Oakland coming into Minnesota, okay? Week 4, Minnesota's another division game. They're going to Chicago, and then week 5, they are in New York, okay? And then week 6, to finish off our little 6-game streak here, week 6, Phillies at Minnesota.
Tough.
Wow, that is a tough first 6 game of the season for Minnesota. That's looking scary.
That is tough. That is really tough.
That's a tough 6-week schedule, Joe.
Yeah, I mean, that is really tough. I still think the Vikings are really good. And I didn't look at their schedule, but now that I know their schedule, they might not be as good. Yeah, it might not have as many wins
And
as
it
I
might
thought.
not have to do with how good they are, but just that schedule that we're talking about because, wow, that's a tough schedule. And just to flirt with it here, I want to take the counter side of this and look at the Green Bay Packers, divisional with them, so we can kind of get that idea, and we'll look at the Chicago Bears next because I really want to get that idea of what we call, Joe, as one of the toughest divisions.
Right, and I like the Green Bay Packers. They lost Clay Matthews though, and
Ouch.
man, Clay Matthews to the Rams. Wow, the Rams.
Can you believe
the
that,
Rams
Joe?
look good. The Rams look good.
Joe, the Rams were great last year.
They look
defense. You've got one of the best defensive linemen to play and put the he might be the best player on the field, Mr. Sam. And I'll tell you this right now. And then you have Matthews back there.
Wow, it is that defense is looking ridiculous. You also have Aqib Talib and Marcus Peters, cornerbacks. That team is stacked.
Joe, talk to me about those Rams.
Oh, the Rams. They might be my. I might go out on a limb and say the Rams win the Super Bowl this year. Honestly, they are really good on defense, really good on offense. But it comes down to Todd Gurley, so I can't say it yet. Todd Gurley comes healthy and he's playing, doesn't get injured.
We're 2 weeks away from your bold predictions. And in those bold predictions, Joe, I'm telling you what's going to happen right now. We are going to predict every one of the division champions, okay, in conference, and you're going to make your Super Bowl pick. We're 2 weeks away from that. And we are going to write it down because somebody's going to be chewing on some hot wings and lots of them. Because, yeah, we do wager around here, and we will wager wings, and we will walk right to the corner over there at Johnny's Tap House, our favorite local supporting place. Johnny's Tap House, the place to get your wings and your bacon blue burger, I said. Joe, we are 2 weeks away from that wager. Are you willing to wager some wings with me?
Oh, my taste buds are tingling right now, man. I've never tasted those wings, but I'm excited.
You've never had Johnny Wings?
I never had Johnny Wings, man.
Soon.
You know, I'm a young guy. I go to Pizza Hut, Papa John's.
Hey, Pizza Hut and Papa John's is good stuff. Okay? So, Joe, here we go right here, just so we can kind of look at the counterpart here, where we're kind of looking at what you called one of the toughest divisions in the football this year. And Green Bay, we already talked about what's happening with the Minnesota. Green Bay opens up their season in Chicago. Ouch for Green Bay, okay?
Yep.
Week 2, we already know where they are. They're at home hosting Minnesota. 2 division games in a row for Green Bay.
Yep.
I'm looking right there at that, and I'm like, ouch. I seriously think right now when I look at this is that Green Bay has a chance to be 0-2, okay? Depends on defense. Then Denver comes into Green Bay week 3.
Tough.
Week 4, Philly's at Green Bay. And week 5, you have Green Bay's at Dallas.
Wow.
Whoa. And then week 6, Detroit's at Green Bay. So you look at that, Joe.
Mm-hmm.
Run this back from you real quick. Green Bay's at Chicago. Talk to me there.
I think they lose that game.
Okay. Minnesota's at Green Bay week 2.
Oh, man, that is a toss-up.
Lambeau Field, right?
You know, I think Aaron Rodgers wins that game. I got
Okay.
Green Bay getting
And
that.
I like that. And then week 3, you're still at home. This is good for Green Bay.
Yeah.
Your Lambeau Field again, and Denver comes into town.
Oh, man, that defense is really, really good.
It's a great defense, but how about their offense?
We'll see how Joe Flacco does. You know, we'll see how he does. They lost Demaryius Thomas. I'm not very high on that offense.
Yeah, and I'm not as well. Week 4, Philly comes into Green Bay, Joe. Philly's coming into Green Bay on week 4.
Yeah, I got Philly winning that game.
You got Philly winning this game.
Yeah.
Look where we are right now. Look where we are right now with this. Okay, week 5, you've got Green Bay going to Joe. Green Bay's going to Dallas.
Oh, man. Dallas defense is good. You know, I got Dallas winning that one.
Joe, we're looking at 2-3 right now.
Yeah.
2-3, opening this up right now. 2-3 for Green Bay. Okay, week 6 to finish off our week 6 stint here is Detroit's at Green Bay. Yeah, might have a chance to go 3-3, Joe.
Yeah, they have that game. They'll get that game.
Well, you look at that right there, Joe, and what we're talking about. That's very important because you're talking about the toughest division. And when we're talking about that toughest division right here, so far, Minnesota's looking pretty good. Mm-hmm. But let's not get taken away by that because Minnesota's looking good, but we also have another potential favorite because we have the Chicago Bears in there. We'll whip through this real quick because I think, Joe, and I'm serious when I say this, very good chance, Joe, there's a wild card coming out of this division, a wild card team, and we know because we've seen it now. But I think as this division plays a huge role in the playoffs. I really do think it does because you're talking Minnesota, Chicago, Green Bay, and it reminds me a lot of our division in the Buccaneers because there's 3 potentials there in. You're always talking about the Saints. You're always talking about the Falcons, and then it's between, in my opinion, the Buccaneers and the Carolina Panthers, who brings up that 3 spot. To me, always like that, Joe.
Yep, I completely agree, and I completely agree with you that a wild card comes out of that division also. So
Joe, while you're here right now, Green Bay's at Chicago.
that's a loss. Yeah.
Week 1, Chicago takes 1-0 win. I'm with you on that one. Week 2, Chicago is at Denver. I'm just telling you right now, Khalil Mack goes into the Benner. It's a mile-high place. And I'm telling you right now, the altitude is not going to stop him from being all over who? Flacco?
Flacco, yeah.
Flacco going to be on his backo, Joe.
I agree.
Flacco on the backo,
Yep.
Joe.
Completely agree. Definitely.
So you're talking right now, 2-0.
Yep.
We're talking 2-0 for Chicago week 3. Chicago's at Washington. I'm telling you right now, there's a very disruptive team that takes the field when you take the field with Khalil Mack. And if you don't have a quarterback prime, ready to go and drop that ball, you might only have 2 seconds to get rid of it when you're facing that Bear defense, Joe.
And you know what? Bold prediction. I have the Redskins winning that game. Look, the Redskins defense, guys, is good. Their defense is good this year, you know? And I think Dwayne Haskins actually, you know, it's crazy for me to say this, but I think Dwayne Haskins actually gets the W.
You're calling
Yeah,
Haskins to
Dwayne-
be in week 3?
Yeah,
That is bold, Joe.
that's what I think.
I like it. I love bold.
Yep.
Stick your neck out predictions here on Sports Static. I love that kind of stuff. Going into week 4, you've got Chicago 2-1 right now, by the way. I
Yep.
got them 3-0
Okay.
going into week 4. Week 4, Minnesota at Chicago. This is what we're talking about
Yeah.
right here, where we're going to be. Minnesota at Chicago. Joe, this is huge.
Yeah, this is a toss-up, but I have Chicago Bears winning this game.
Chicago Bears winning the game. They're at home. Wow, Joe.
Yeah, they're at home.
The suspense is building here for me.
Yeah, it's that game's a toss-up. You know, I like the Vikings and I like the Bears. They're two really good teams. So, but I think the Bears in a close game edge that game out.
In a close game age now.
Yeah.
Okay, and I think it is going to be a close game. I'm going to take Chicago at this because I don't have a lot of faith in the quarterback position for Minnesota. I just don't think the offensive line is going to be good enough. I really don't. And I'm just saying that I think Cousins is going to face a lot of pressure, and I think that pressure is going to take a toll on him. I think he needs better protection. I don't think he's going to have it. Week 5, we are going Chicago is at Oakland. Okay? I'm just going to put mine out there real quick, Joe, and tell you this right now. Khalil Mack comes home to Oakland. Oakland wins the game at home. Oakland wins the game at home.
Wow. I disagree with that. I think Khalil Mack gets the Derek Carr, and I think the Bears win that game.
Okay, so check it out. You don't believe in Trubisky. So, who do you think's a better quarterback? Carr, Trubisky.
Oh, Derek Carr.
Running game for Chicago. Okay?
Yeah. Okay. Chicago. Look, I like Montgomery. The Raiders. Yeah, I got the Raiders running back probably better.
The best receiver in football until otherwise proven different.
You know, it's a toss-up. I think DeAndre Hopkins is the best receiver in football.
Okay, that's
So.
fair.
All right, you know, Julio Jones.
Julio Jones,
There's so-
but he did not get the ball in the red
You're
zone
right,
last year,
yeah.
which was their success in the years prior, and he was not getting the ball in the red zone.
Right. Yeah, he wasn't getting the ball in the red zone. He didn't have many touchdowns. So that's why I'm high on DeAndre Hopkins. Didn't drop a pass last year. That's insane.
Wow.
Yeah.
That guy's very athletic. Hopkins is very athletic. I think we're getting a little bit of an idea, if given a chance, who Joe's taking in fantasy when it comes to receivers.
Oh yeah, DeAndre Hopkins. You want to have that Deshaun Watson DeAndre Hopkins connection. DeAndre Hopkins is going to be good this year.
And Watson's pretty bad to the bone,
And
too.
Watson is very good.
Bad to the bone.
I like Watson. Love and guys, but Lamar Miller just got injured. Big loss there. I think that was a big loss.
Week 6 is a bye week for Chicago. They come back week 7. New Orleans is at Chicago. What a great game. I'm taking New Orleans. When you look at where we are right now, I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now that we're going to have Minnesota and Chicago tied at 3-3.
That could possibly happen. I also think the Saints are going to beat the Chicago Bears. So that could possibly happen.
Well, there it is right there. So that being said, that division's going to be super tight because Green Bay is going to be right in the mix of this whole thing. I mean, I know. Before I even turn any audio up, I hear you, Detroit. You feel like I'm treating you like the redheaded stepchild, no offense. I'm not. But Detroit, I'm from the show me land, okay? You've got to show me something. I think Detroit's defense is going to be a little bit better. Can you please give the quarterback a little bit of time to get rid of the football? Please.
Right, man. I like Matthew Stafford. I think he's a really good quarterback.
I'm so glad to hear you say that. I've been talking this game. I think he's great.
Yep, I think he is too. And guess what? I think Kerryon Johnson's really good also.
Would you take Stafford as a quarterback in Tampa over Jameis Winston? Whoa.
I would. I would. I'm sorry. It's just.
Joe, you scared?
Look, guys. Jameis Winston has Mike Evans. Jameis Winston has Mike Evans. Mike Evans catches a lot of touchdowns. O.J. Howard, Cameron Brate. They have a way better offense than the Detroit Lions. Who's Stafford passing to? Besides Marvin Jones, you got to look at that also. The weapons.
He may not need many people to pass to. He just needs to thread the needle. But Joe, agree or not, he needs time to thread the needle.
Right, he does.
And if you're not getting that 3-1,000, blue 229 set up 1-1,000, 2-1,000, 3-1. Pass the ball. Get the ball out of your hand. It's the only way you're going to have success in the NFL if you can get the ball out of your hand. If you're watching Hard Knocks, what do you hear Gruden say all the time? Throw the damn ball. He's over there. Throw the ball.
Yep. That's the thing. It does come down to weapons. I do believe Jameis is going to make mistakes. They have a way better offense than Matthew Stafford does, but Matthew Stafford's a better quarterback.
Matthew Stafford is a better quarterback. He's got an incredible arm. He's very durable. Very durable. I like Matthew Stafford as a quarterback. And I know you Detroit guys are over there thinking, well, we're at the bottom of the division until you show me otherwise. Yes, you are at the bottom of the division. That can dramatically change overnight. It could dramatically change over a Sunday of football because you give any one of these teams right now in your division a backup quarterback situation where your starter goes down, it's a totally different ballgame. A team that I think would be least affected by that, the two teams I think at least affected by that would be Chicago and Minnesota because I like their defense. But I don't know. Joe, you tell me.
I like their defense too, and you know who else? I think the Eagles. I think their backup quarterback is good. Josh McCown. I think McCown can win some games, like you said. They have a good defense also, and I'm really high on the Eagles.
Well, the Eagles are going to have a backup quarterback because they don't have a starting quarterback that can make it through a regular season schedule. They just don't.
Right. If Carson Wentz stays healthy and this team, sky's the limit.
If Carson Wentz stays healthy, he's showing you MVP quality quarterback at the position. He can take you to the promised land. I call it the promised land. He can take you to the promised land if he stays healthy. He will basically tell you one thing. This is fun for me, a little trivia. If he were to tell you one thing at the end of the season, and he's healthy and makes it through the whole thing, what is the one thing you think he would tell you?
We're going to the Super Bowl.
Going to Disneyland.
Yeah.
Or going to the Super Bowl, yes. And then, you're right in the regular season, we're going to the Super Bowl.
Right.
And that's the promised land. And then after the Super Bowl, he's going to get on the camera. And, man, they must make a lot of money to say they're going to Disneyland, right?
They do, man. They make a ton of money.
I mean,
I'd love to
say
imagine?
It. It's the first thing they say, I'm going to Disney World or I'm going to Disneyland. I mean, you got to make a lot of money if you just want to. That's the first thing you say. You grab your hat and you say, I'm going to Disney World. Have you ever been to Disney World?
Oh man, come on! I grew up in Florida. I've been to Disney World hundreds of times.
Favorite ride?
Oh, favorite ride. Oh wow. I like the Buzz Lightyear ride.
Buzz Lightyear.
Yeah.
I haven't been in, oh my goodness, 20 plus years. I need to go.
Yeah, they made some new parks, and it's exciting. It's exciting. I like it.
If the Buccaneers are successful and keep Jameis Winston as starting quarterback all year long, I'll go to I'll go. I'll come on and go like this.
Wow.
Hey, John, what are you going to do? Jameis started 16 games in the season. I'm going to come on and go, I'm going to Disney World. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah, I'll go with you, man.
All right, there it is right there, because you're going to have to show me what's up.
And look, I think we're going to go to Disney World. I think he starts. I think he's going to play the whole season.
Bold prediction?
Bold
And
prediction.
I like the bold prediction. It's like hot sauce. Bold. Hot. I like the bold prediction. So you're calling Jameis to go 16 games and what, bring us into the playoffs?
Oh, not bring us into the playoffs, but I think he goes 16 games.
16 games and then ends up on another team next year, because you know what 16 games going to look like.
It's going to look like 6 and 10.
It's going to hurt.
Yeah.
And he go bye-bye. Who picks up Jameis if he goes bye-bye?
Oh, man, that's a good question. Who needs a quarterback? Maybe the Miami Dolphins. Who knows? Josh Rosen? I don't know. Right. I don't know.
I think the Tampa Bay should have made the trade last year and should have had Nick Foles here last year.
Yep.
And Jameis should have been a backup, because he's not going to start somewhere.
Right.
He's just not. So if that's the case, who's he going to be a backup quarterback for next year?
Jameis? Oh, man. I'm not sure. That's a tough question, but I think he could start. Maybe on a bad team, Miami Dolphins. I'm gonna have to look, but we'll see.
Miami Dolphins. I like that. And when you say that, you're keeping him in Florida. He's probably got a home. He's only gonna be 4 hours away from the Tampa Bay area. So when you think about that, 4 hours away from, I fly down to Miami sometimes. I know people say it takes them longer. I get to Miami in 4 hours, Joe.
Yeah, and Miami, man. I've been to Miami too, lots of times. Miami's a party city, man. So, if Jameis goes there, he might even be even worse.
I'm not so much into the party city, party whatever, but I do like Lincoln Street. I like cruising up and down there. A lot of cool things happening. Of course, the beach, is beautiful.
Yeah.
So I do like to go out there and dip into the water, and it's a beautiful area, Miami. I used to go down there and watch the Heat games too, man.
Oh, man, those Heat games. I've been to a couple when LeBron went to Miami. Well, those were exciting.
Yeah.
Loved those games.
A lot of fun. We're going to close this show off with hitting one more thing that we've talked about. A lot of people are talking about Danny. And when I say Danny, I'm talking Danny Jones. Okay? So, New York fans, I told you, we're gonna talk Danny. I'm calling for Eli Manning to have his best year. I want to see him have his best year and ride off into the sunset, because I think Eli Manning is a good quarterback, and I think he's better than good. He's got 2 Super Bowl rings against the New England Patriots, guys. You can't ignore that. Put the system around this guy. Give him an opportunity to be successful, and that he will be, Joe.
Yep. And this is one thing we do disagree on. We do agree on a lot of things, but this is one thing we do disagree on. I believe Daniel Jones comes in, it starts week 6.
Week 6?
Yep.
Okay, so there you go. I love it. Nice setup, Joe, because we're looking at that first 6 weeks of how that would happen. And right away when you come into that, the very first thing you're going to look at is when you talk about, wow, is there an opportunity right now for the Giants to get smacked in the mouth? Week 1? Yeah. Why? Because they're going to Dallas week 1. Mm-hmm. Week 1, the Giants are going into Dallas. Dallas supposedly has a good defense, Joe.
They have a very good defense. Very good defense.
Is their defense good enough to handle Barkley punching the ball?
Yes.
Their defense is good enough to handle Barkley punching that ball up their mouth.
Yeah, and I love Barkley, but they're just going to stack the box against him. That's what they're gonna do. Stack the box against them. You got Ware coming off. You got Van Der Esch blitzing. Yeah, they'll beat the Giants.
Dallas is supposed to look good, and at home, I mean, it could be an explosive situation. Okay, I think it's going to be a close game. I really do think it's a close game because I think that Eli is going to be dumping the ball off like he's throwing it to Bell. And I think Barkley's next season, the sophomore year, what you're going to see a lot more is him catching the ball a lot more out of the backfield.
Yeah, I disagree with that. I think it's going to be blowout because literally, if you're the coaching staff, all you have to do. Van Der Esch is super fast. He's fast, man. All you have to do is stop Barkley. Like really, they don't really have many wide receivers. You just have to stop Barkley.
Although I think it will be a close game, I'm going to side with you on that one. I think the New York Giants start 0-1. They go into Dallas. They get beat, especially if Zeke's there. They don't need Zeke to win this game. They really don't. Week number 2, Buffalo is at Giants. So right away, I'm going to say this. Buffalo's defense is looking pretty good. I don't think that Buffalo comes in and beats Giants at home.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. I do.
So we're 1-1 right now.
Yep.
Okay. New York Giants are at Tampa, Joe. Week 3.
I have Tampa Bay winning it.
And I've got the Giants.
Yep.
So I've got them at 2-1, week 3. You've got them at 1-2, week 3. Your case seems strong right now, according to what you're saying, for Danny to come in week 6. Okay. Right away, going in to week number 4, Washington's at New York, Joe.
Oh,
I know.
That's a tough one. That's a tough one. I'm going to give it to the Giants.
You're going to give it to the Giants, and me too. And if I'm giving it to the Giants from week 4 right there, you know what I'm saying, right? You know what I'm saying, right?
Are you saying 3-1 right now?
Yes. I'm saying 3-1.
Okay.
You're 2-2 with them, correct?
All right, well, let's see the other
You're
games.
2-2. I'm 3-1 with them. Week 5, Minnesota is at New York. Minnesota is at New York, week 5. And I'm a little bit scared of the running game of Minnesota. Well, Delvin, like we said, Delvin Cook.
Danny.
DC in the house. He comes into New York. This is a tough one for me, Joe. Can I hand it off to you?
Yeah, man. I got the Vikings winning this one.
The Vikings winning.
Yep.
So you've got 2-3.
Yep.
Week 5. I have the Vikings too. I have the Vikings winning this one too. So week 6, Joe. Week 6. The New York Giants are at New England.
It's an L.
Talk to me.
That's an L.
That's a big L.
That's a big L.
You put 2 L's up. That's good.
That's 2 L's.
Loser, loser. There ain't no winner, chicken dinner.
Might as well not even show up for that game.
Okay, so wow, the New York Giants at New England.
But
Every week on the Sports Static Show prior to kickoff, we call Upset of the Week. Joe.
upset of the week.
Upset of the Week, we call it.
Give me some teams. I need some teams, man.
I'm going to give you one team right now. 2-time Super Bowl winning champion Eli Manning against the New England Patriots comes into the home of the New England Patriot Belichick Brady era. The upset of week 6 will be Giants going in to New England, Gillette Stadium, and coming away with the win.
Wow. Wow. There should be something like, if that happens, I should do something like that's not gonna happen.
I could be the winner. You're gonna buy me a chicken wing dinner.
Look, if that happens, I'll buy you 10 chicken wings. How about that?
I was thinking more like 20, but I'll do 10. I'll do 10.
10.
Okay, 10 it is. 10 it is, right? We got our first chicken wing dinner happening here right now. It's all about bold predictions, and that's the one I'm calling. So when you look at that right now, Joe, I got to tell you right now, you do put up a good case. And if you look at week 7 after that, you have Arizona at New England. And then at week 8, New York Giants are at Detroit. It could be week 8 before we see Danny Jones. I don't know, but I think you do put up a good case. I really do think you put up a good case, Joe.
Yeah, I mean, look, the guy was the 6th overall pick. They're in New York. New York fans are going to give it to the coaching staff. They're going to be chanting, Danny, Danny. And he's going to come in, I'm telling you, week 6.
But what if he can't handle the hype?
Look, he's coming in where people are already saying, he's not good. Why do we pick him 6th overall? So I don't think he has much pressure.
Wow. I mean, you're right on that. He already dealt with pressure before he even got to do anything. He's been proven the naysayers wrong. So you've got a great point there. I guess we'll have to wait and see what happens with that. Guys, if you want to be part of the show, which starts that first week, regular season football, you're going to go to the LipaLive.com/register. Once you register, you will be given that email with our phone number attached for the show. You're going to call in, and we're going to take your call as long as it's football related, guys. All right? Football related. Okay? We take your call, and I don't care what you want to call me, tell me, or say anything to me. I have alligator thick skin. You will not offend me. And Joe, I don't know about you. You got thick skin? Can you handle it?
I am bulletproof.
Bulletproof. I like that. I like that. He's bulletproof. So, guys, we encourage you to be part of the show because this show is all about the fans. That's you. It's to the fans. That's us here at Sports Static, and we throw it back to you, to the fans. Drive the show, guys. If you want a different narrative, help drive this magic bus with no brakes, by the way. This magic bus has no brakes. So, if you want to be part of the show, be part of the show. Register at LipaLive.com/register, and you will be part of the show. Like our page on Facebook. Like our page, guys. You can find the host of the show, which is Leap Alive. You like that? You see every show that Leap Alive puts on. You get to see every show. There's lots of them. There is lots of them. Don't forget about Murph Man. Murph Man makes his picks every week, guys. He makes his pick every week. He went with huge stats last year. He was the biggest winner there was on the show. So don't forget about Murph Man. It's going to be a lot of fun. Joe, in closing, my friend.
In closing, guys, next week we're going to have bold predictions. And you know what? I'm going to end on a bold prediction right now. And I'm going to say a Super Bowl winner. The winner of the Super Bowl is going to be the LA Rams.
Wow, that's an early bold prediction, and I like it. You're calling the Rams with that McVay offense to be you're calling them the early favorite right now. Not only are you saying the early favorite, you're saying that your next Super Bowl champion is going to be
Los Angeles Rams.
Wow. Mm-hmm. That's huge. Next week, Joe, we will go into the first 6 week schedule of the Rams. We'll go over like we did, guys, this week. What we'll do, we'll go over the same thing next week with another division, and we'll look at that division, give you a little more insight to it. Joe, are you going to give us a little bit more fantasy stuff next week?
Oh, definitely, guys. I'm the fantasy guy. You want some fantasy advice? I'm your man.
Cool. That's what I like to hear. Guys, don't miss the next episode. There's 2 ways to catch that next episode. Obviously, you can go to the LipaLive.com website. It's the same place you register to be part of the show, but it's also streaming live on the homepage at LipaLive.com. You can catch it on YouTube at LipaLive, YouTube too as well. So we encourage you to be part of it that way. We're not streaming the dual stream happening on Facebook like we did last year, every one of those, and had a lot of success with that until the first regular season game. So we'll see you in 2 weeks on Facebook as well. We encourage you to comment and be part of it. Guys, I'm looking forward to the regular season to kick off. I just can't wait, and I can't wait to go on this ride with you guys. Joe, I'm going to see you next week, pal.
Yes, sir. I'm hyped too. I'm so excited for
Last
week
week,
one.
Joe, of
Last week.
preseason.
Last week, man. Then we're starting.
We're not going to see the starters probably,
Nope.
but the roster's getting cut down.
Yes, sir.
So we're not going to see the starters next week, but what are we going to see? We're going to see that 52-man roster come to life. We're going to see who we're dealing with. It's going to help us a lot. And then we always get that surprise, Joe. We get that surprise. What happens week one?
We're gonna have some upsets, man. We're gonna have some upsets.
It's tough, isn't it? Those first
Yep.
several weeks, you never know who's going to do it. Last season was so hard because when are you going to show up? Show me what you got. Show me what you got. Show me what you got. That didn't happen last season. It was so hard that first 6 weeks.
It was. You got to show us, man, and we're gonna give you your props. If you don't show us, we're gonna rip you on here.
Yeah, grab the reins, yank them back, show me what you got. Guys, for Joe over here in the Tampa Bay area, Joe, we'll see you next week.
See you next week.
All right. For John, checking out here at the Leap Alive Studios. I will see you guys on the next Sunday, our last preseason game. Everybody make sure you tune in. Go to that Leap Alive register page. We will see everybody next week. And man, we are ready for the regular season. Peace out.